Ali, 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 yeah. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for his blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for his blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for his blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for his blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for his blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for his blessings. Ali was the circle 7. Peace and love, family. Peace and love, peace and love. We got a few little technical difficulties on the internet, but all is well. Now that we stopped playing that, we should be all right. Sometime it be like that out here in my neck of the woods anyway. So, yeah, I got a grand draw to bring forth. I want to actually rise and give praises to the great God, honors to my holy prophet, our holy prophet, noble Drew Ali, the ancestors, and all of those who came to set us free, mentally, physically, and spiritually. You know, I got a grand measure. I'm going to pick up where I left off at last night. Like I said, man, we dealing with this late night library archives and wisdom, you know, book club, if you can look at it from that aspect, because we're going to be going through various different works. And we started out with God, Man, the Word Made Flesh, you know, one of my favorites. I know when it comes down to dealing with this information, I got a couple of more favorites as well. This just so happened to be one of them. You know, so everybody that's interested, you definitely gonna get fed over here, and we're gonna always come with high measures of elevation, and your expectation will never be where you come to a level of disappointment. Not if you are willing to really look into what it is that we here to bring forth. You know, this is powerful. This is powerful, family. And if you would like to participate, you know, I'm gonna put the link in there. I'm gonna put it in there early. You know, just in case somebody want to come in, engage in the conversation, you ain't got to worry about no arguing. You know, you ain't got to worry about no fussing, no fighting, no hooping, no hollering. You know, we ain't going to have that up in here, and we ain't going to let nobody disrespect nobody else up in here, you know, that come on the panel. We're going to have nothing but good building, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We're going to lead a Negroism and the schisms outside of this platform. So, like I said, I'm going to pick up where I left off at last night. But if you notice, in this particular area, honors to your babe brothers, peace and love to you and the family question. You know, look forward to your participation if you choose to come in. Be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe in this demonstration so that our people can get this information, family. They don't know what they missing. They don't know what they missing. They may have heard something similar, but I promise you, they ain't heard this right here. You know, this is straight off the press, so to speak. Everything that we bring forth is exclusively for our people. We're going to raise them up and we're going to bring some clear insight, you know. So all is well. You know, we ain't here to just come forth and just speak for the sake of speaking. We trying to enlighten our people, uplift our people, and we're going to do it in order, in the Moorish order, that is. So peace and love. All is welcome. All is welcome and all is well. And I'm going to do my measure like I normally do, then I open up the flow. Islam, brother, Sincere Bay.
Islam, Angel. Praise Allah for you. Yeah, praise Allah for you more. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm right here.
Okay, Allah's do the praise. Praise be to Allah. Yeah, so this is, you know, the late night Liberia Archives and Wisdom drawing. We just putting Moors up on some insight, you know, giving them some things that hopefully they can use to heal themselves. You know, so praise be to Allah. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get into the bill. You know, this late night Liberian Archives and Wisdom session, you know, it has a lot to do with the concept. You hear people always talking about, you see up there it says the square. You see a lot of people like to talk about being on the square. You know, they like to talk about the square. You know, so we finna give you some true insight in relation to dealing with this special measure that they call the square, what it really represents, so people know what they're really saying. You know, because you may not be talking about being on your Moorish square, you know, or you may be talking about being on your Moorish square, you know, just the truth in general. You know, I remember, you know, dealing with our family, you know, that was their main teaching, the nation of gods and earths. They would say truth is the square, and the square is the truth. You know, love the mathematics from the brothers and sisters. You know, so we get shouts out to all the bodies of knowledge, you know, and we represent all of our people because we know that all of these are the lost tribes of Ali. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna touch on a few things real quick. I'm gonna go into back to where we was. Let me pull my file up right here. You know, we're gonna go through this a portion at a time. Again, this is the book God, Man, the Word Made Flesh, and what we're doing is we shedding light on the esoteric teachings that have been hidden, you know, by the secret societies, you know, different groups of Western Freemasonry, things that they have been trying to keep from the masses, you know, because they think the masses are too ignorant to understand, or they think that the masses will bring great opposition to them. They fear these things, you know, but, you know, we over here, when we teach, you know, we don't screen ourselves for reputation and fame. You know, we ain't trying to protect ourselves in the way the public perceive us because of the information that we bring. We gonna bring the truth. We can stand on the truth because we are the truth. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open up, and you can let me know too, brother Sincere Bay, if anybody else check in. You know, you see some, you know, if you may not be able to see it down here, but if you see some other people checking in or whatever the case may be, and they are asking or saying that they are in the back, you know, backstage or whatever the case may be, then you just let me know. And I come out of my build because I ain't looking at the screen. I'm just building.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just presenting. All is well. So let me share my screen. Appreciate you. All right. We see, you know, we know you the constant general of your territory, but you're gonna be muftiing for us.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we got 12 departments in this Voice of America government. I'm on post more.
Okay, all is well. If you see anybody go to acting crazy in there too, you can let me know that as well.
Okay, gratitude.
Gratitude, because we do have some Roman agents. They like to do all type of crazy things. Yeah, we ain't gonna let nobody put nothing negative in our chat. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go back into this work. Again, this is God, Man, the Word Made Flesh. You know, we actually had to go back over the other day and put the pictures in there, the reflections, so that people will have them, you know, but that's how we do it. You know, we sat down 2 hours, went through it so that our people have the pictures that'll help them understand what's going on. So what we have established dealing with God, man, the word made flesh is basically a physiological work of esoterics to let you know how these things are applied from the biblical perspective. But this is not just biblical, because this is actually a universal teaching when you get into the realms of esoteric knowledge. So when you get into reading about certain people or places, these people and places in the esoteric world have to do with a location within the body, within the self. You see what I'm saying? And this is the teaching that most of our people have no idea that exists. So a lot of time when you see people up there and they dealing with them different Masonic groups and teachings, they be up there teaching. And when they be talking about Sarah and Abraham, you know, Joseph and Mary, they ain't talking about who you think they talking about. You see? And they think they be talking slick because the majority of the conversation don't know that they speaking on esoteric things. Some of them, because some of them ain't even got this far in this type of information. But the ones who do know, they think they be saying something slick. In other words, they be literally speaking over the heads of the audience, unbeknownst to the audience. You know, so here in this case, it's gonna go into Sarah and Abraham, but it's gonna get deeper. I'm gonna go into the measure. You're gonna see why I brought the square for. And the square has a lot to do, you know, with all of this same knowledge right here. So it says Sarah or Sarai and Abraham. Why was the letter H added to Sarah and Abraham? It says Heth or Ket, because actually, where you see it saying Heth here, you know, Ket is actually the way that they pronounce it. And I can give you an insight on that because of the word Ham was demonstrated the same way. If you go look into a Hebrew dictionary, it would actually be spelled C-H-A-M, Cam, instead of Ham, which is just like Chem, or Chem, C-H-E-M, alchemy. You know, it ain't strange. See, in our teachings, in the Moorish teachings, how this would apply is we understand that we are dealing with the chemistry of mortal life, right? The ministry of love, and the mystery of deific life. All of that has to do with the unfoldment of the purpose of the body being here in the first place. The body is here as a result of the chemistry. You see, the purpose of the body is to demonstrate the ministry, right? And then when you go into the final destination or the reality or the ascension of the body, then we are dealing with, you know, the mystery of deific will, where one is understanding that their will is one with that of the great God. And then this is what we call, you know, the deification or the deific will of man. A line of divinity uniting us between the matters of what we call the material and the spiritual world. So it tells you that this is the 8th letter in the Hebrew alphabet. It means a feel or something perceived or that can be cultivated. In short, spiritual perception. Keep that in mind. In the story of Sarah and Abraham, we find the marvelous truth that age imposes no limit or barrier to the birth of the incorruptible seed. You know, because we know that when we get to a certain level of age, they say, oh, this person is impotent or this woman is barren. Well, when you're dealing with the incorruptible seed, there is no limit or barrier by which one is able to bring forth birth, because we're not talking about necessarily bringing forth a physical birth of another child. We're talking about the process of constantly being able to be reborn and rebirthed, you know, or regenerated. In other words, we really talking about the fountain of youth. So even though you may not be able to physically give birth, you are able to sustain this body, so to speak. You know, your endurance, you know, is able to be seen. People will be thinking you 30 years old and you may be 50 years old. You know, you may be 50 years old and they think you're 40 years. You know, I mean, this is the result of doing the work with the incorruptible seed. This also has to do with building the temple of perfected man and perfected woman. Again, this deals with abstinence, being able to not be corrupted in your passions and your desires, of being pleased on the carnal level, so to speak. So those things that please us on the carnal level actually are the things that cause us to die early death, so to speak. It breaks the body down, it weakens the body. Y'all heard me talk about this last night. So the incorruptible seed is being referred to here as Peter, for it is eternal life, right? Sarah, at the age of 90, is told by an angel that she would give birth to a child. Y'all know the story. Y'all know Sarah like me, huh? How am I gonna give birth to a child at the age I am? It said the great God said, why did Sarah, laugh? Oh, she think I'm playing? I had the ability, to make her bring forth a seed. This is what the Most High was basically saying, to cut through the chase and give it to you uncut. So Abram, at the age of 100, received information that he would be the father of an offspring, right? Immediately following these revelations, the letter H was added to both names. So Sarai was called Sarah, and Abram was called Abraham, right? See the 16th and 17th chapter of Genesis. So this letter Heth was added to their name. So Abram, being in his mere manly state, was who he was, she was who she was. But when they went to a higher degree, that H was added to their name. So that H distinguished their carnal expression from their spiritual expression, basically. So Abraham and Sarah, now find Isaac, which is Hebrew. It means laughter or happiness. Thy seed shall be as the ends of the sea. Unto Abraham and his seed was the promise given. It says, and unto thy seed, which is Christ, Paul. We already let y'all know this ain't got nothing to do with Jesus Christ, a man. See, a lot of people don't know that word means Christos. It means to be anointed. It has to do with oil. This oil in relation to this seed having to do with that which regenerates the body. See, and in other words, that Christ is inside of you. See, this is adept teaching. Ain't got nothing to do with no man on no cross. A man that existed 2,000 years ago. You see, this is referring specifically to the inner self or the inner being. So it says Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Noah, David, Solomon, Isaiah, etc. are not historical characters in reference to what we're talking about right now, but they are referring to things that are taking place within inside of us. That's why you hear us say, as it is above in the heaven, so it is below in the earth. For example, we can tell this same story about Abraham, Noah, David, Solomon, and all of them in the heavens if we understand the astrologics behind it, you see, or we can tell it from a historical aspect, from the historical standpoint. But as it is within is what we're dealing with right now. You see, as it is above, so it is below. As it is within, so it is without. You see, so we actually dealing with the root of the four right there. In all actuality, that's a square, coming from the heavens, all the way down to the earth and into you and outside of you. That's forming a square, so to speak, right? But it says Pontius Pilate and Darius, Pharaoh, Herod are names of ruling offices or functions, not certain individuals. No dates being given to any so-called transaction in the scriptures or to any of Paul's epistles, nor to the Acts of Apostles. Pilate means dart, javelin, a giving up death, right? Pontus means sea, the open sea, marine, right? Herod means heroic. Pharaoh means rulership. Darius means coercer, conservator, or presidency, judgeship, etc. So they are giving these measures in reference to how it will relate to the self, and it's going to get deeper into these definitions as well. So now we go into the word of God, and this is what we want to really go into the depths of right here. Because you always hear this right here when you hear Christians speaking, but half of them don't know what they're saying when they say this. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, right? That's John in the first chapter. You hear them saying that, right? But they don't know that this beginning connects to Genesis when it speaks on in the beginning. And when it talk about God, basically breathing forth, as we would say in our Moorish Holy Quran, a darkness being upon the face of the deep and the Spirit of God moving upon the face of the waters. What was the motion that they moved in? They moved in a circular motion, a circular pattern. This deals with the first churning of the cycle, as we touched on in our last mention. So in the beginning, if it was the Word and the Word was with God and the Word was God, well, we know in our teaching, we say that, Allah is actually the perfect word to us, right? But Allah expresses himself through creation. God expresses himself through creation. Yahweh, if you want to use that language, expresses himself through creation. And it is said that man is made in the image of God. But man represents mind. Man represents thinker. So every thought is a manifest of God, right? So therefore, that means the first word was a thought that came forth from God. And we know that God don't have dirty thoughts. So he ain't thinking of dirty words when he manifests anything in creation. Everything that he manifests come forth in a pure form. So we have a lot of symbolism, that actually bears witness to this. And I'm going to go back to some of those things that I actually had. Let me go here. Pull this up real quick. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay, let me check my thing here. We got our Bay brothers there. Okay, so yeah, all is well. Give me 1 second. Make sure I pull this right here back up. And I'm going to go here. Well, you know what? I actually already have it open, so I really don't have to go there. I can actually go here in this particular measure because I have everything here already. I always, can you see that, brother Sincere Bay? Is my screen still showing?
Yeah, it's a lot more. We can see it. It's yeah. It's changing.
Okay, so you see it changing and everything?
Yeah. You got it's 3 of them right now. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, praise Allah.
So, okay, gratitude.
Gratitude.
So when we deal with this particular word, we see the word is being formed right here. But this word is forming in the form of a man. Many of our Moorish kin have seen me teaching this throughout the years. We just ain't went deep into the science behind all of this symbolism, because there's a deeper science to it. I'm giving root science, but now we actually going into it. You see? So this is known as the tetragrammaton. These 4 letters, tetragrammaton mean 4-letter word. There's a 4-letter word in the Hebrew language in reference to the Creator, and a 4-letter word also in Arabic as well. So when you look at all of these symbols here, the tetragrammaton is also seen with this symbol. You can see the scimitar there beneath it. The prophet was the one who taught us how to raise this scimitar, as it relates to the consciousness. So all of this science is universal, this symbolism. These are not just signs and symbols made up. This is actual, these are actual, we can say, maps that deal with sacred geometry. That's the best way to put it for those who don't know. So this same symbol, which notice it forms the shape of the man. In the beginning was the word with God, the word was God. So this is forming the shape of a man. You can look at this name, Yahweh, YHWH here, as the spiritual body of the creator through which he creates everything, right? And this also is synonymous with this tree of life right here, right? But that's not just in that portion of the Hebrew language, but you can see it still manifesting the same truth here, which I pointed this out to our family. Notice that there are two human-like figures here in the stick form. This would actually be both masculine and feminine. This actually would be, if you look here, Hawa. Hawa actually represents the name of a woman in most cases, right? But this actually is Yah. This is God, right? But this is the masculine principle. So masculine and feminine together, which we don't even deal with gender, it shows you there is no gender in the creator. Because both of these, you can't even tell them apart because they really represent spirit figures. They are basically another expression of the same thing that's being expressed here. You see, so ain't no spirit, dealing with no gender. But we do know both of what we like to call a masculine and feminine, is, in one. They are not separated at this point because you're talking about the creator. And what unite them is the creator. How do we know this? Because when we look up here, and look at the name and how it's made up, when we see man and woman, Isha and Isha, right? Ish and Isha. Both of the letters in here are the same, from the letter A, as they call it, to the letter S and H. You can see that in both of these expressions. The only thing different is this man figure in the arm, and that's Yah. So God unites spirit, man, and woman as one. That's powerful, ain't it, brother Sincere Bay?
It truly is, and the symbols and everything, more.
Right there in the name. So this is the
Yeah.
real X and Y chromosome outside of the physical. This is the spiritual X and Y chromosome. You feel me?
Yeah, they say it's like that in our DNA too. It got that first strand say God and man, from
See
what I
what I'm
was
saying? See what I'm
Islam.
saying? There we go. And so that's showing you when we deal with science, because science is observation, bro, of phenomena, observable phenomena. And so we are demonstrating the observation of observable phenomena, and we making it clear to you. And we doing this with not just Hebrew, but Paleo Hebrew, and we're gonna go to the Arabic too, and you're gonna see the same thing. So when you look at it from that standpoint, though people may be seeing different expressions of the creator, all of it's expressing, the supreme being, in the figure of the image that we have become manifest as. You think that's by chance that happened across all of these different teachings? That didn't, some people think they didn't have nothing to do with each other? You think that's by chance, brother Sincere Bank?
No, that's by divine appointment.
That's intelligent design, ain't it?
Yeah, it truly is. Praise
Right,
Allah.
right. Now, this is where it get deep. If Ish and Isha is united by God, Yah, you see, which is also the root name that goes back to Ayah, or what the word Allah go back in the Kemet, right? Goodness gracious. And then you come up here and you see the name Yahweh, again, just like we had it here, same thing. But when you go and read it, from left to right instead of right to left. When you read from right to left, you read towards the heart. When you read from left to right, you read, away from the heart. So in the West, they teach you to read from left to right. But in all ancient literature, you read from right to left. See what I'm saying? So though we spell this out from left to right, it's really being read from A, see? And then this is the Shah, and then this is, that Ha at the end, and the other A is a vowel that's added. See what I'm saying? So that's Esha, right? And this is Ish. So that's your A, right? And then it goes into the Y that follows behind it and sh at the end, Ish. You see what I'm saying? Ish, Ish, and Isha. But nevertheless, it's that Yah, that brings them together as one, basically. So without that Yah, it's actually Ash, and that actually means fire. So basically, we're talking about, a divine spark, in creation. So here is another expression, the Elohim, what is referred to as Elohim. Now, if you notice, you see the A, this is actually El, Lamed, and then you see Yah in the middle right here. And then you got the M at the end. So basically, Yah is the link between Ish and Isha and God. In other words, God, Ish and Isha, and the Elohim, this is the oneness between them all, the name Yah. Yah here, and Yah being the creator. Now, ain't that powerful, grand man?
It truly is, because that's the confirmation. That's the confirmation that Allah is in man.
And that's also the confirmation when he said Elohim was appointed to make the body too, right?
Yeah, the seven created spirits, more.
That created everything that is, was, and evermore to be.
Amen.
So even though we say that, we know that in all actuality, it was God that done the creation, but the Elohim was his employees. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
power, clarity, and authority. Yeah.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. We making it plain now. So once we go into that, now we understand it. Say in the beginning was the word with God, and the word was God. Don't it make sense when we say this now?
It truly do. I mean, even you got the Y chromosome right there. You know, the male, we don't deal with gender, but it got all of the expressions on there.
Yes, sir. All the
Yes, sir.
attributes.
The
Yeah.
attributes. Yeah.
You know, and even right here, a lot of people don't know when you hear about the Ancient of Days in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9, known as Atik Yamin. You know, that's the Ancient of Days. This is actually a reference where Daniel is speaking of the vision where he seen the Most High in the beginning when he began to open up the books in the heavens. And all the heavenly hosts came before him. This is right around the time he was getting ready to create. Actually, we'll go back to the time in the Grand Quran. Because even in the Hadith, it said when Allah began to create, it was just him, and then he brought forth the book of creation. You know what I mean? And he began to create. So
Yeah.
that's powerful. That's
Yeah.
powerful. You know, because so this is when the words of expression of bringing life into manifest came forth. So we using all, you know, of the spiritual works to basically bring this forth. Not our own words. We using the information that we had to manifest this, right? So now when you look at this tree of life, which I pointed it out to you right here, same thing. Every culture has a teaching or a tradition that deal with it, even in our Moorish Holy Quran. You know, we speak of the tree of life in our Moorish Quran.
Yes,
So,
sir.
so when you deal with that, now the truth behind this is that what people don't know, the real secret that has been kept away, is sacred to us, but it's secret to the people that have been trying to hold it back, is we keep telling them that Adam Codman was the pre-Adamite that existed before the physical Adam. But when you're speaking of Adam Codman, you're really speaking of Ish and Isha as an entity, or what we call the being that referred to in our Moorish Holy Quran as spirit clothed with soul made in the form of Allah, flesh divine. You see what I'm saying? So this is the first expression, you know, of the human family. This is the indigenous Muslim. That's why we tell you that's the Muslim been there from the beginning. You know, this is the spirit you, but when you get into the manifest, you get to dealing with that Adam and Eve degree, fallen man and fallen woman, because that's what Adam and Eve is a symbol of to us. It's just a symbol of fallen man and fallen woman. And everything earthly came with them. That's why I say they Asiatic, they descendants of Asiatics and Muslims. Asiatic mean earthbound. You see what I'm saying? And if you know anything about that tree of life, that the lowest rung of that tree of life is Asia. You see?
I see him.
So when you come into the flesh, then you see how we fall from up here to down here. Because in our original constitution, notice it's 2 upright pentagrams. That means that the first man in his spirit self being harmony, truth, balance, right order, and justice, when he fell from that special state, you know, then he manifested a 6 point. And we finna get into that in a minute. Goodness gracious. We finna get into that. You know, when you manifest that 6 point, you dealing with nothing but the manifest. How you think that the physical was able to come into being? Because they thought it was all about jumping up and down and carrying on. After that 6-point manifested, ain't it right? So we became earthbound in our existence. So whereas before we didn't even need the scimitar because we had a garden up here. That's the Garden of Eden, Mecca. That was the original state, our holy state of mind, right? And then came the Elohim. You know, they have to come in here and try to keep some little justice on the man. They wasn't nothing but the Neteru, same thing as they call them in Kemet. And then the scimitar became manifest. It was necessary for that to govern us when we fell here. Prior to that, though, everything was pure. See what I'm saying? When we reached the rate of the atmosphere, that's when our flag turned from white to red.
Go ahead there, more. That's
You,
it. That's
you don't hear, brother Sincere, man. You don't hear me right now, bro.
it, man. I hear you loud and clear. I see the attributes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know we just being Moorish and humorous with you, grand man.
Come on, more.
You know, but we're gonna make it plain tonight.
Yes,
If they
sir.
don't get it no other time, see that's why I call this the late night library archives and wisdom session. You know what I mean? Wisdom speaking out of highest plane of spirit life. We up 2 o'clock in the morning. I told them I don't go to sleep, and I'll be right back up tomorrow. So when we fail and reach that rate of the atmosphere, or the human-like vibration, so to speak, the carnal sensations of life, we came from here, you know, into here. You know, this is when we begin to deal with them 5 folds: instability, inconstancy, weakness, insufficiency of knowledge, misery. That's the one that gave birth to the 6 point. Goodness gracious. And that's how we fell into an earthbound state of condition. And they call this in chapter 1 the creation and fall of what?
Fall of man, creation and fall of man, more.
Yes, sir. And they get to dealing with Genesis 1, verse 26. Because they don't know Adam, that was made on the 6th day in the Piscean record, was not made in the image of God. He was made in the image of Adam Codman. But Adam Codman was the one that was made in the image of God. You see? It was the pre-Adamite that was made, that spirit man that was made. The same one that aided in bringing creation to exist. Because remember, when they express Elohim in the Bible, they have an eagle-headed man, lion-headed man, ox-headed man. And then they have man-man. So we are the spirit man that was with the Elohim when they was doing the creation. Oh my God. Did you hear me, brother?
You know I did. And that's that's the cool. Because that's even that confirms the chapter 1.
You see?
Yeah. Spirit man.
This more science.
Yeah, that's
more
science.
Science.
It's a living manifestation, more.
we more God than we mere man, right?
Islam.
Islamism, and they think we playing. Look at that. See, that ain't nothing but an expression of Adam Codman right there. Everything that I just said in that science right there, and what I demonstrated is manifested in this picture here. For those who are able to see it. You see? And when we speak of that, we say Codman, that thing go deep because it go all the way back to Kemet, Ketem Amentiu. Remember I said the fire? When I was dealing with these 2 measures here, I said if you take, you know, the Yah out of there, you're gonna have Ash, which in Hebrew means fire.
Yes, I do recall that, yeah.
And so in Kemet, Ketem Amentiu is actually the fire in the gods of Ament. And Ament is actually the heavens or the paradise of Kemet. Ooh-wee. If you think it's a game, we know that D is interchangeable with T. But when you go to the root of the very word ket, it means a man, people, mankind. Ket. It means a God, the God of things that exist. Ooh-wee. Even the heavens they call Seket Aru. Seket Aru. Right? So remember how I say God, Allah is a dwelling place, it's a state of existence. Remember, Seket Aru is also Seket Allah. Oh man. You know, we can keep going on and on, but if you trace all of these particular words, you're gonna notice they all deal with the body, the company of the gods, the womb, our belly, you know, which actually deals with birth. It also has to do with, you know, the belly of heaven, a part of the sky, the issue forth of children in a body. Come on, man. The great body, that macrocosmic man, Ra and Osar, or Ra and Osiris, as they say. Come on, bro. We can't get around this right here. Who is
Cannot
Ra,
get
the
around
divine
it.
light? Who is Osar, the perfected man of Kemet? Go ahead, brother Sincere Bay.
It's in every family. It's in every being. You know, that's a blessing to be
That's
able to get.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. So now for those who think that we just making this Codman Adam stuff up, as you see it here, Codman, Adam Codman, formed from the Pentagrammaton. That's the Pentagrammaton, Tetragrammaton. But when you come back over here, remember Adam Codman. But when we go into the Hebrew, all you got to do is look it up. There it go again, Kadam. This deals with the east. It deals with the front of for time, everlasting, eternal, ancient. This also means simply original man. So when you heard our family and who is the original man? You see what I'm saying? All
They
that
was,
really talking about the spirit man. Go ahead, brother.
yeah. That's the NOI. They was really yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Elijah said they had to come from 1 to 10, right? It's
We
10
did.
Sephiroth here. They started with 1 here, coming out of the Garden of Eden, and then they counted up to the 10. So 1 grew from 10. That's what he said that Adam came out of darkness being 1 and it increased tenfold. You know what I mean? All that's really doing with the science of this tree of life, brother. You
Islam.
know, when you make it plain. And if they think it's a game, I keep reading it to them. If they don't believe we were there from the beginning, it said right here in Proverbs chapter 8, verse 8. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting. That word everlasting is kadam. You see, from the beginning, or the earth was, meaning he was there before the earth or anything was created, before the works of old. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. Now, do you know how deep the depths of space is? That one say he was there when there were no depths. When there were no fountains abounding with water, before the mountain was set up, before the hills, I was brought forth. And while as yet he had not made the earth wasn't made yet, nor the fields of the highest part of the dust of the world. Space dust didn't even exist. He said, when he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he had set a compass upon the face of the deep, when he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the fountains of the deep. You know how far back that is, brother Sincere Bay?
Yeah, it's in the everlasting of the past into the never ending days to come more.
Yes, sir. And this ain't talking about the Most High neither for the people that think that God talking about himself. No, this was David, as they say, wrote the book of Psalm and Proverbs. This is him talking in Proverbs, acknowledging how fearlessly and marvelously he was made. When he gave to the sea his decree that the water should not pass, his commandment, when he appointed the foundations of the earth. Can you imagine somebody spitting some lyrics like this in Sylvain? God,
Yeah,
almighty. Man, this man was thinking way before his time, literally. What?
yeah. He was setting people's soul on fire with love and holy zeal. More, I'm telling
Yeah,
you that them
goodness
words.
gracious.
These are words of life because this
Yeah,
is us. You know what I mean? Yeah,
God
yeah.
almighty. He say I was by him. So that's how you know he was talking about being with the Most High. This ain't the Most High. This is somebody saying they were there with the Most High in the beginning. Then I was by him as one brought up with him. And I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him, rejoicing in the habitable part of his earth. That didn't mean the physical earth. It says his earth. That means the earth of the creator. That ain't got nothing to do with this earth. That means in his ethers of his native plane, basically. And his delights were with the sons of men. And y'all know the sons of men is talking about the angels. Proverbs 8, family. So we have established when we say in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. Now we should have some insight. So when I get to going into this particular measure where I'm finna go, it should be clear to us at this special point. But I'm gonna do this just for good measure. This is coming from the book, Brother Sincere Bay, known as the Sefer Allah. you know, the book basically of Allah. And listen to what it says. It says, in my yoke, I was instructed in regard to Al, the great God of the Bible, my divine father. That glorious, ineffable deity assumed likewise the title of Allah. That omnipresent and universal Jehovah, who in vast series of his theophanies and divine manifestations revealed himself in the form of Rashid, the divine Adam, or first image of similitude. It says, this divine protoplastic Adam. Oh my goodness. Wait a minute. Uh-oh. Don't chapter 1 tell us about protoplasm?
Yeah. That's the seven for one of the seven created spirits more.
Yeah, that's actually spirit man in his
Yeah.
atomic state.
It is atomic state, boy.
In
Yeah.
his atomic state. You know, so when we deal with that in special measure, there we talking about protoplasm. The definition of protoplasm is actually the first life form, grand man. If you go look it up, it means the first life form. So this is the atom, you know, that the spirit basically utilized to bring forth life as we know it. And that's why the atom is called the building block of life. You see? Now this is deep because
too. Yeah.
I've been building on this for some time now. These notes right here, some of my ancient notes. This is back when, you know, it's like literally 30 years ago, grand man. These notes are from 30 years ago. So I ain't just started doing this. I've been doing this. You feel me? And when you go into the same history, I was building on the atom of life. You know, I was building on all of that same history. You know, the original mind, original man, you know, the science of the flag. See that right there? I got the same tetragrammaton here. I added up back then with the year Genesis 26. Because 10, which is this letter, 5, which is that letter, 6, that letter, 5, that letter equal 26. Genesis 1:26, let us make man in our image. And it came out in the form of the word. Goodness gracious.
Praise
and then to get even more cold-blooded with it, brother Sincere Bay, when I go into the name Allah and broke it down, it equals 15. So that's Surah 15, ayat 26, which where Allah say he about to create man from mud.
From mud,
you know?
more.
Yeah. Come on now. How in the world are these two different books, bro, and all this mathematics and geometry adding up like this? I didn't do that.
No,
they even say Kamisha made it up. How? When these books came before me.
Way before.
You see what I'm saying?
That's a grand demonstration, Marlon, for real.
And that's way back then. That's why I can speak on what I'm speaking on, because I've been doing this. I ain't just started. They don't know that, but they know tonight, don't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so each one of these particular elements, hydrogen and oxygen and nitrogen and carbon, you know, you can see it. They equal 22 alphabets. When you add each one of these up, they come to the 22 alphabet. But these are the same thing that were used in the God code. Because oxygen synonymous with the ox, you know, the eagle, you know, the oxygen, you know, the lion, which is fire, and man, earth. You know, I was dealing with that way back in the day, because in the book of Genesis, you'll hear him say, God said. You know, when God said, that God made, then God saw. That's the words they use in Genesis. If you go look and analyze, it say God said, God made, and God saw what? God's creation. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's powerful now. You know, I went into all this stuff, brother. 7 metaphysic, ganglionic genesis of the heavens and everything. You know, with the third eye and the chakra system as it relates to the 7 heavens, you know, and everything. We did this already, right? But the key point is,
we are that circle 7, ain't we, more?
Yeah. That's the whole point that we making right now, right? I'm showing all this because we talking about the word.
Yeah.
You know, so when it says, you know, in the beginning was the word with God, and the word was God, there it go again in the form of a man. The name of God in the form of a man. The name of God in the form of a man. That H look like a turban on his head.
Come on, now, it's rap tight too.
Head is hanging and swinging, ain't it?
Yeah, this swing.
And then when you go into India, right, the word Om, when you arrange it, it's already looking like a man here. You know what I mean? That's in the
Yeah.
Hindu teaching, Sanskrit.
That's
There's
Sanskrit
three
right
different,
there in the middle, huh?
yeah, there's three different languages, and all of the name that refer to the sacred divinity is forming the shape of a man.
Period.
Look like he twisting on his leg like a whirling dervish.
Yeah, yeah. On the Sanskrit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Praise Allah.
See, and this is another same one of that same glyph, but they don't put it in this order and look at it.
It don't matter. Yeah, man. I remember when
Ain't
you
no
got
way
that.
in the world, bro, you gonna be able to do all that stuff like that right there by chance. Come on, man.
For
And I
real, man.
keep showing them this one right here. When you
Yeah, that
flip the name
Allah, bro.
Yahweh upside down. Like, come on, bro.
Same exact
All
thing.
that show you the oneness of the creator. So when you're speaking against one, you're speaking against all.
Islam or
See, remember I was telling you when you take that name and you deal with the ash, it mean fire.
yep.
You know, and Yah, and there you go. Your X and Y, your chromosome, Ish and Ish, man and woman, Yah and God.
Come on, Maza.
You see what
Yes,
I'm
sir.
saying? Like all over the place. And I show this one all the time, but they don't know it when I be showing them to them what it really means. This is all showing you dealing with God, you know, Ayah, Allah, Yah, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Who measures the lives of men. You know, the limbs and the members and the flesh. Look at that.
It's all there,
Flesh
boy.
divine, man. They better stop it. So when you understand that and you get to the level of dealing with them seven Elohim, you see why how the seven who revolve driving the chariots around their Lord. The one eye, the 7 eyes, rotating around the one eye. Oh man.
Yeah,
Remember
praise
I was
Allah.
telling you that's that protoplast right there.
Yep,
From
that's the one
ancient
he
Greek, first form. In religious context, initially referred to the first human. What? So spirit man is the original man, and the first actual physical form of the man, actually at the level of the atomic degree, started off at protoplast. It says, more generally, the first organized body of progenitors of mankind in creation, in the creation myth as Manu and Sharupta, Adam and Eve, or surviving humanity after cataclysm. So a lot of people wouldn't have never knew protoplast meant that. And then look what they did. They came on and let it out know just what I said it was. Who
Adam
they
Cobb,
said it?
man.
Who they
Esoteric.
said? Oh my God.
Adam Cobb, man.
Can I
Yep.
make this stuff up, my brother?
Come on, brother. Hey, you can't make that up now. It was it,
Look
it
at it.
was here before us.
It was here before us, bro.
We just setting the record straight.
Yes, sir. So here you have protoplasts that deal with plant, bacterial, fungal, cell wall. This is at its smallest state. You know, in the enzymatic means the first form, which all subsequent forms are derived. That's Atum, that atom of Egypt, bro. See, spiroplast, cytoplasm, and these have cycles in them that deal with the seven. The circle seven rotating in our cells. Oh my goodness. See that there, primeval Atum, a primeval cosmic god. Atum is the sun god, is the creator and substance from which all creation unfurled. See, that's where they get the atom from. He is Lord of the universe, his human form. He represents the king of Egypt who wears the double crown of Egypt. So not only does he has an atomic state on the spirit realm, but he also has the state of manifesting in human form and sitting on the throne in Kemet. Ain't that the same teaching? Adam Cobb man, pre-Adamite, spirit man, flesh
It is.
divine, then the Adam that come from him. So you see, the same story being told, ain't it?
It's the same exact one. Yeah, yeah.
But that means that if it originated from Kemet, that's the true story. You know, even though the other is relating to it. So, you know, we already know what arm, leg, arm, head represent. We want to give honor to our family and the nation of gods and earth for putting this science together. They got here. They talk
Yeah.
about the Elohim, Allah. So we say they're on the right page right here, ain't
Yeah. Praise Allah. They
they? And
truly
that
is.
symbol that you seen Sanskrit, this is actually what it's called. Umani Padme Hum. That's actually what that's saying. This little portion right here.
Umani Patnu.
Yeah, this
Mm,
right here. Yeah, it's saying
okay,
Umani Padme Hum. But the
okay.
thing is, this symbol right here that was taken by Westerners, that's what they called this symbol, the Umani Padme Hum, with the serpent around it. This represents the universe. You know, you already know this star represents the Polaris, is a Venus, and this represents the Big Dipper that circulates around it in the universe, which is the Confession Ancient Kemet. So our symbol, our flag is here, it's just in rotation. You know what I
Every
mean?
eight
Our
year,
prophet was the one that brought it back at the top, the scimitar at the top. Go ahead, bro.
every 8 years, the Venus, the esoteric, because the stars even confirm, because every 8 years that Venus do the pentagram. I think
Yeah,
it's
when you
every
get
eight.
into the signs, yeah, the cycles
Yeah.
that's made
Okay.
in the
Yeah.
risings. I know what you're talking about in the
Yeah.
rotation pattern. But yeah, they called it Umani Padme Hum. You know what I mean? So like, I mean, we can't get around this stuff, man. It's just all up in there everywhere. You know, I just really want to emphasize and drive home the truth about this word of God and the word being God. So you can see it there. This would be Adam Cod, man, within the cosmos, summoning up creation. You know what I mean? That represent us too, because we were spirit man. Anytime you talk about spirit man, you talking about God. Anytime you talking about the oneness of God and being one with God, if he created and we was there, then we was bringing forth creation. This is how we brought ourselves into creation. In fact, we came into the atom. We came and went on that pilgrimage into life, or came into existence in a pilgrimage of 7 days. Woo!
Man, that's powerful because you can see it all through the generations and everything. Because I see it through our procreations more. This is powerful.
See,
Just
I'm
let us
building
know.
it up like this right here, because what I'm getting ready to go into in God, man, the word made flesh, is going to get into the creation and fall of man. You know, but we got to address where we was and the heights that we fell from. So that's what we talking about right now, the heights that we fell from. Y'all will hear people talking about science, talking about the Big Bang, and they say, well, nobody knew what happened between the Big Bang. That's what y'all say when it come down to dealing with, you know, the so-called Big Bang, the Planck epic. Y'all can't go no further than that.
We know
But we
exactly
telling
what
y'all
happened.
where we was before that. We was the ones that was getting ready to bring the Big Bang into the manifest.
That's right, more. That's right.
You know, and want to give honor to our brother P. Nathaniel Johnson, a student of the prophet, because he definitely let you know where he learned from. Look at him showing the man and the sun in the Fahimi teachings. And right down there, he tell you who it is. The man and the sun, his wife is the woman in the moon. All saw and all set, the son and son of Allah. Osiris, Atum, Ish are names of the sun. See them the names for the man. Then the new crescent of the moon is real, from which he was made, is Isis, Eve, and Aisha. See?
Yeah,
Power.
that's it. And that was P Night. That was who?
That's Paul Nathaniel Johnson. You know, he
Oh,
established the Muhammad temple. But you know, these actually adept teachings he was teaching. Talking
yeah.
about Ish and Isha right there.
There's
You know?
gratitude for that portion.
Oh yeah. You know what I mean? So you see the tree of life in the same vibration. Notice I said it up here. In the beginning was the word with God, and the word was God. That's that God man that existed from the beginning. We ain't spooky with it. We gonna let you know what it is. We ain't scared to tell you neither. They got to hide when they talk about this stuff in the lodge, but we can speak it openly. So look at the tree of life. They didn't even know that tree of life in all actuality represent that DNA helix. Oh my God. You see that, brother Sincere, baby?
You know I do. I say see it down right there and every yep. That's what I was speaking of. Those first two, in the halo, in the
In the
halo.
helix. Yeah, the helix.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It says God in man.
That's
Yeah,
what the DNA really is, man. It represents different replications of the tree of life in man. You know,
man.
DNA, RNA. You can see the rungs on the ladder. That's where the
Yeah, yeah.
information is transferred at. You know, that's what a process of what they like to say evolution take place at. You know, but we know this is divine evolution. here it is right here. When you get into the actual words that I was showing you, remember I did my math on them, and they got 26 too. I got 26 over 30 years ago. We got the same math, so we ain't wrong this week.
Nah, no. Go ahead, more.
You
That's
know,
some
so
research.
when we go into it, they just confirming what I had already studied. You know what I mean? And so they say the comparison of God's name as the elements of our world and our name is encoded in each of our cells. As tradition reminds us, while we are related to God, our physicality, the carbon or G, or Gemil, prevents us from becoming equal. See what I'm saying? So this is the G that deal with the human body in the DNA, and this is actually God's name that I calculated. So in our DNA, that G is the only thing that make us different, see, because it's YHVH or YHWH. V and W really is the same too. A lot of people don't know the V ain't number two V's, a W ain't number two V's basically put together. But anyway, so this is the name of God. This actually translates God eternal within the body. YHVG. See what I'm saying? So this is God eternal within the body in the DNA. And we showing it to you right here. Oh my God.
Praises be to Allah, because that's, yeah.
You lead on and victory is you, ain't it? Now this
Victory
is
is.
where it get real good. And this is how you can tell when they go to talk about the 8 DNA. See, the 8 DNA don't have none of this in here, what we got. That's how we know he's different from us. You see what I'm saying? So when we get into these measures, these are the proteins that make up the DNA. The cytosine, guanine, thymine, and adenine. See, the adenine is a very important thing. There's a lot of science behind that adenine, brother. You know, and I got it up top in here. That really represents what we would call the divine technology within our being. The Netaru work at the level over here. Adin is the root level to Eden. But when you
The
put
line, is that the line?
adenine,
Is that the line, the line that divides the divinity and matter?
oh yeah, because this deal with the divine alchemy of the Netaru basically. See that 9 represents the Ennead, the Elohim that working
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
level. Yeah,
got it.
all
Yeah,
that deal with creation and everything.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and so it even breaks down and shows you the hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, Hanak, which goes back to the reason why Enoch was able to ascend in the heavens, because he ascended within his spirit. You know, he was already destined to go into that realm. You know, so it breaks it down like they're showing you here. It indicates eternal aspects of God's ancient name, that name Yah. Remember, I was showing that to you up there when I was showing you earlier when we first started. And
Okay,
this
I
VG
did that.
actually represents how God, again, his eternalness resides within the body. So God body. That's that God body DNA. Yes, sir. So, you know, that's just a chart of the alphabets and so forth and so on. You know, but they can't get around this stuff, man. All of these charts, you know, they all attest to the tree of life. You know, man being a temple of perfection, that pyramid. You know what I mean? Like it's just in us to be what's in us. Now, this is what I'm really finna get into when I get to talk about this square. I want you to really remember this, and I'm gonna actually come back to here as a reference. You know,
Oh,
see, it
you got
says
that.
man.
You did the circle 7 like that, and then put it with all
That's
of
right.
those 4. Yeah, yeah.
That's right, because that's basically what that is. That's the circle 7 right there. This is basically circle 7, which is man in perfection being a master of all his animalistic passions, which represent these different Elohim, the cherubim and seraphim, so to speak. These also represent the different levels that deal with between the quadrants, you know, that we have, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the 7 in the center. And that's why you come here, if you look at it, this is the same thing that is saying, but just coming from a biblical standpoint. Again, it says chariot throne. That's the 7. You know, that's the measure here. And notice they got them at small levels, the same things in their rotation at different points, but this is really the same thing going around one rung, so to speak. See, that's cherubim chart. just showing their rotation pattern, just like the circle 7. See what I'm saying? So they going clockwise, not counterclockwise, first, second. You know what I mean? So this is powerful here. But look right here. So that's why when we get into the hierarchy of the angels, we say that the adept chamber is above the neck and cherubim and seraphim up there. They go your seraphim and your cherubim. All that reside up here. Thrones, the throne of Allah, understanding. When Allah say He's going to take the Moors up above the sun, moon, and stars, around the almighty throne of Allah.
Yeah, I believe the
See that there? Physical world, first heaven, second heaven, third heaven. Huh?
Yes, sir.
And these charts that already exist, I didn't make these. Here, this one here.
Yeah. You can find them in any encyclopedia. You're right.
I just put them together. You know, I put this beside the tree of life so they can better see what's going on here. See what I'm saying?
You ain't doing nothing wrong.
Yeah, I put it together so it can be easily comprehended. You know what I mean? Show you what all these things represent. See the man, the kingdom, mineral, plant, mineral. Look over here. Asia, they go that earthbound world, the kingdom again. Man, the kingdom. Look at that. These two different sources. See the Kilpa, which is evil. There you go. That's where that 6 point become manifest. We see what it is now, don't we?
Yeah.
That desire. Fire and desire. Hey, so right there from that special measure, that could be hellfire too if you ain't careful. But anyway, you know, when it come on to it, you know, so this is where your plants, your animals, and your minerals and all that right there, manifest straight from here. You know, before it started, it came from a thought. What you doing thinking like that?
This is the Kundalini. That Kundalini had to come down before it went back up.
Man, they talking about the earthly sensations. Goodness gracious, get you every time. So, and when you look at these points here, you know, that's the wisdom. We try to get back from, you know, being caught up in just being born to die. You know, what about ascending back to your source, where you come from? You know, that's the lotus. When you get there, then you know what it means to put that white fez on you. It ain't what you put on your head, it's what's in your head.
It's what's in that
demonstration. That's that white fez degree. And even at the right fez degree, you dealing with omnipresent, omnipotent, and omnipotent science.
Now, I understood that those degrees that you gave on that pamphlet, the commission of depth degree, man, because it was all up in there right there, boy. That's another.
They ain't gonna get it until it's late. Most bad people. You know what I mean? See, it says Akka and Ba Akaba. Say God is the greatest. Yeah. That's this is comedic measures here. This spirit body, the soul, the body, and flesh divine. That's what Akaba mean. That's when you great. So when they were talking about Asar being the great body, that's because Asar was Akaba. Huh?
Yeah, for real.
Should I say Baka?
Come on now.
Mecca.
Mecca. You go all the way. The Kaaba that they were looking at, when the brothers came with Muhammad had to get them right.
He had to get them together, didn't he?
He got them together too.
Yeah. So when we say in the beginning was the word with God, the word was God, it all makes sense now, don't
it? Yeah, absolutely.
You can't get around it. You know, it's like I mean, how can you? Why would you?
And you brought it from all four sacred
from all the sacred schools of thought.
Yes, sir. Yes,
that way they nobody can get it twisted or get it wrong. Period. You know, we're gonna make sure they get the understanding of it. You know, so that's what we talking about. But what I want to get into, and I'm finna go back to God, man, the word made flesh. Now that we done let them know what the word of God is now. So when we go through here, their mind should already be ready for what we getting ready to give them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it says the word of God in the beginning was the word. And so you got to lay a foundation and build upon it. We just laid a foundation, a grand foundation, but wait till we build upon it. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God, right? John 1st chapter, word. This combination of letters does not mean in its first and original sense, voice, sound, or speech. But what y'all talking about then? Physiologically speaking, it means a precious substance.
Mm.
Therefore, as mankind must be placed on their feet, physically, before the same condition can exist mentally. Ain't that what we did? Then we just place them on that solid foundation, then we stand them up, right?
Yeah, upright, Mo.
Okay, now they got something to stand upon. Now they got the foundation. We're going to build on it. It says physically, before the same condition can exist mentally and spiritually, we must get down to fundamentals, which we just did, and give the physiological meaning of the word. It says the Hebrew alphabet consists of 22 letters. Didn't I just say that there? Didn't I show that to you in my notes too,
Yeah,
Graham?
yeah, we added up to 22. Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah, when
Continue.
you added, the hydrogen, nitrogen, oh my God.
Yeah,
Them
yep.
the elements that make us a human being. And they
Period.
add up to the 22 letters. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh.
Allahu
So
Akbar.
that means we got to be the textbook. If the elements that make us up consist of bringing forth 22 letters, then that means the letters can be read within us then, right?
Within our being. Yeah, more. Yeah.
So we the text.
What the hell, man? For real,
Hey,
man.
we the book, right?
We the book. We the real deal.
Oh
Yeah.
man, and we ain't the only book. Because if these words exist in us and we the microcosm, and the universe is the macrocosm, then the words got to exist there too, don't they?
Yes, sir.
My God.
Come on now.
And that's what we talking about when we say God, man, the word made flesh, bro. Every prophet or messenger that came, they were the message that they brought, literally, bro. Yahushua
This was it.
was
This
the
was
walking,
it.
they
Yeah,
call him the logos.
yeah, they did.
Logos is actually the word.
Period. The
You
highest
see what I'm
form of
saying?
word. The highest form of word too.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Logos also mean logic. It has to do with thinking and reasoning. You know what I mean? Understanding, remember, all of that. Logos. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was our logo, so he was the Circle 7 made flesh. My God.
Guarantee.
Right?
Yeah, more.
So, and then Muhammad, they say he was the walking Quran.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
remember?
it's all
He
making
couldn't even
sense
read.
now.
He couldn't even read more.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah,
But he was the walking Quran. So
the walking Quran. Yeah,
if that was the case, oh man. So wait a minute. You telling me that the book is really me? I am the book? That mean I need to be reading me then, don't it?
Islam. that mean that Sultan Nathi might be need something I need to be doing.
Know thyself.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We done read everything outside of the self, so now it's time to study the self. You the book.
Islam said, Cloud said loud and clear, boy.
The book of Eli. He took the book with him because he was the book. Or did I say book of Ali?
Come on now. That book of Ali on fire.
Hey, am I making it plain though? Am I making it plain?
Yeah, you making it
Goodness
plain.
gracious.
So
So it says,
where a baby can understand it.
yes, sir. Now watch this. It say the Hebrew alphabet consists of 22 letters, each letter having a concrete meaning. In the formation of Hebrew characters, letters were chosen, which when combined indicated plainly every phase of that idea which they wished to express. It says, let us now take word, dissect it, and understand the meaning of each letter. There is no letter W in the Hebrew alphabet. Facts. That which they used to designate our letter W was V and V. See, remember I was telling you that earlier, that V is basically two W's.
That was one of the first sciences that I seen as a child. I said that W looked like two V's.
See what I'm saying? Double V. Now I'm finna show you the real science. You finna be blowed when I go into the science of this double V.
Continue.
Oh, it's finna get real good now because we finna talk about that square in a minute. It says, which is also used in our modern French. It say, its meaning is hook. The arms and the legs are the hooks of the body. So how is this so? If the arms and the leg, represent this expression V and it's two V's, that means I got to turn one upside down in order to make one arms and legs, don't it?
Yeah.
And if I put them together, They gonna either form a symbol that look like the X,
Yep.
or they can look like a compass and a square on top of each other too, can't
Come on, more.
they? Watch this. Cause you know the brother Yehoshua, every time he went up that ladder, that 12-step ladder, what he had with him?
He had that compass in
That square.
the compass in the square. Yeah, he did.
You know what I mean? But we're gonna go deep with it. You know, it says V and V, and then double V is the 18th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and characters which they use to express that letter written with thus Zade, almost unpronounceable. This letter is also, as we write it, the 18th letter in our alphabet. Its number has great significance. It says that's the 9th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. We know that 9 representing a re-entry on it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It says Tet represents the equilibrium of the father and the mother. It says in the perfect balance of male and female, positive and negative forces, as manifested in the perfected, completed human being. So the 18th letter, Sade, or the double V, and we know 18 come from 9 and 9, right?
Guaranteed. Yeah.
Oh, man. It says Sade, V and VV is the representation of the fall of spirit toward the middle world. So in all actuality, when we split that demonstration up, if you turn that 9 upside down, you get a 6. So one is falling by a means of coming through re-entry, spirit and matter, or we call it truth and falsehood, strangely mixed.
Strangely mixed. Go ahead, man.
Just by coming through the earthly womb. Goodness gracious. A representation of the fall of spirit toward the material world. We just talked about that earlier and everything we said before this, right?
Yeah, what's that in the divine instruction where it stated, say from the womb of our mother thy gains that inconsistent.
You gain your imperfection.
Come on now, more.
Right. Here it goes. See, now that's what I'm talking about. That's what more science supposed to do. He gave us the keys to civilization. That's what I'm talking about. Use them, brother.
Yes,
break them laws. It says, or the material body, right? It also represents the material body and its passions. This is where it get real good. In astronomy, it corresponds with the zodiacal sign Aquarius. You know, Aquarius represent the feet. You see, in the signs when you put it on the body. It says as the 6th letter of the alphabet, Wall expresses the struggle between the passions and the conscience. Watch this. The struggle, that means one of them things have to be pointed upward and the other got to be pointed downward. So it's a struggle between going toward spirit plane and one pulling you down. That's the struggle between the passions and the God consciousness. My conscience rule though when I'm a true Muslim, right? My conscience rule when I'm a true Moorish American, right? My conscience rule when I'm a God man, right? Ain't no struggle. God don't compete with devils. So Vol actually expresses the struggle between the passions and conscience, the antagonism of ideals. So the 18th letter VMV, which is 3 times 6 or 666, represents the beast. Oh my God. The beast of which we read in Revelation, the Adam man. That's the physical Adam, not Adam God, man.
What was the first? What was the name of the descendants?
What were the descendants of Adam and Eve? Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and
beast.
That means the one fell all the way into their lower self, don't it?
Yes, sir.
God almighty no. This just dealing with alphabets we discovering this, right? It says on the mental plane, it says we use the expression of Hephren. It says for this number, the lower mind or the material mind, 666. And this is the number of a man. Now that's what the book of Revelation say, right?
That's what it said, more. Yep. Go ahead.
We're gonna let you know what this mark of the beast is in a minute. It says in astronomy, the affinity of this letter 6 is bull, the Taurus. Mankind living wholly on the material plane. Bull-headed, huh? Hell bent on ignorance, huh? Yeah. Stuck on stupid, huh? Let me stop over here. I think I'm making it too plain. So it says it's hence a beast a beast physically, mentally, and emotionally. Oh my God. Animal on all three planes. And thus in the Tarot, we find that 18 represents antagonism.
Mm, mm, mm.
So
At
they
its highest
love to
degree.
antagonize when they're in that level there, huh?
Remember
Go ahead,
Set?
brother. What you finna
Remember
say?
Set? Remember Set was the antagonist of Sar.
Yeah,
Yeah, more
it's antagonist in every teaching.
every
You
teacher.
know, the people, America was the antagonist of Muhammad.
And then in the
Yahushua,
divine,
only people was his antagonist according to the teaching, right?
yep, and then in divine instruction, remember in that first chapter we find of that fall that he say that how did it say it? It say soldier never knows
Fall
is
without a strength.
yes,
I
that
never
thought
knows.
must be developed, the
Yeah,
exercise and strength. Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Thought must be. That's right, and that's why
Yes.
it's talking about that right here. Material well thinking. Now watch this. Now I'm finna get into the actual materialization of this sign. Because we know how to work with these tools, right?
Yeah, it's long.
Now, if you pay close attention here, brother, I ain't really got to go into all of this right here. This is a cube, and I'm gonna just deal with these two portions of it right now.
Okay.
And this is the east, which represents the above, right? The highest
Yeah,
expression, right?
yeah,
This is
everything.
when you turn that 6 upside down and go where you're supposed to be.
That's that
But then
9.
the other one that deal with duality, the west, this represent below. See? So true east actually deal with your spiritual self. If you in the west, then you on the manifest. Oh my God. Did I rhyme? Was that rhyme?
I think it did, and there ain't no coincidence.
East is the way you get away from the beast, and west is when you come on the manifest. So,
It's long, bro.
so
You
now,
gotta write that.
oh man, yeah, we might have to put that one in a track. Now
I'm
watch this
trying to
here.
tell you, bro.
So now what we understand is the nature of the cube. There's a grand drawing here. See how this cube unfold into a square?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-oh. So what you trying to tell me? The square really represent a symbol of crucifixion? That's why you got to stand on the square. You see what I'm saying?
It's
You
long.
can't. Oh my goodness! Is the square anywhere else, and you think about it from any other standpoint,
You
then
gonna
you
be
in
on the
trouble.
cross.
Because if you truly God, you can't be contained in the square, can you?
No, no.
You can think outside of the box.
Oh wow! It said it. It
Now
man.
watch this. See, the God in his ascension of heights, he ain't got no limitation. See what I'm saying? In his distance, in the length of his distance, ain't no limitation.
Ain't no limitation.
The
Yeah.
the degree to which one can expand. So in other words, this means that God can't be held in no box. Only a slave can be held in a cube or a box. A room. Did I say a prison cell?
Oh Lord.
So,
God man.
oh man, we got to make it plain, brother Sincere Bay. I'm sorry, man. We got to make it. We got to make it plain.
Make it plain more, please.
It don't get no plainer than this, though, monster. Uh-oh.
It don't more.
See, we were talking about that wall.
Yeah.
Would you woo?
I didn't say that.
Would you woo? Now watch this. So if we come here, we got 1, 2, 3, right? We
Mm-hmm.
got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if you think your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is just dealing with mind, body, and soul, you can become somebody's slave, can't you?
Yeah, period. Yeah.
And
'Cause
if you can become somebody's slave and they got control over you, then that means you must have some most worshipful master.
yeah, if you're
You
missing
see?
those two other components to make you whole, that God and that spirit.
That's the only thing that make you whole, grand man. But see,
Yes,
it's
sir.
something secretly hidden. They don't know how God is there, even when you try to enslave the mind, soul, and the body. See, they wanted to encapsulate us. They want to encapsulate us. They want to try to trap the God, but you can't trap the God, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because when you get up here in the spirit realm, 10, 11, and 12, 12 represent ruler. Shit, that executive ruler,
It's long, but go ahead.
spirit. And you know that spirit is an extension of that God. See what I'm
Salon.
saying? So we're
Yes,
gonna
sir.
pull one up out of that condition that they may be in. Once you're able to
Okay.
do that, that means God ruling. But how you do that, brother Shaheed? You know, because if you let them tell it, when you add everything up right here, you got 33. But we
Oh
go
Lord.
deeper than that right there, because we know that when you add everything up, in all actuality, 6 times 4 is what? 24, ain't it?
24, yeah.
But when you add this together, 1, 2, 3, what you get, brother Sincere Bay?
You get 6,
When you add 4, 5 together, 4, 5, and 6 together, what you get?
15,
5 and 1 is what?
6.
When you get 9, 8, and 7, you add that together, what you get?
Yeah, you get what is that? 9, 16. Is that 24?
All right now.
9, 8.
See,
That's
see,
17.
you own it. You own it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 24. And that 4,
And,
yeah, but then that 4
and
plus 2 is 6.
there you go. And then when you get up
Yeah,
here, this what you got? 10,
yeah,
11, and 12.
yeah.
What is that? 33?
That's 33 more. Yeah.
And that's 6 again, ain't it?
Yeah, it is because 3
So
plus 3. That's
6 times
numerology.
4 is what?
6 times 4. Yeah. That is it.
24.
24 again more.
And guess what? How did this become 7?
How did they get
Because
there?
the 1 was in the center. And when you add that 1 to the 24, you get 25. And 2 and 5 is what?
It's 7 all day.
They didn't see him, but he always been there. So now, once you understand this, grand man, and we talk about expanding, so to speak, in all actuality, he's saying things that deal with, some of the tools that we have that we use in the workshop of the mind. When you take them and you turn them back in the direction we were speaking of earlier, one upright and the other in the other direction,
Come on,
and you
Muslim.
look at this demonstration from on high, you
That's
know
the
what I
type
mean?
you
Because
see.
God
You
is the
see the
center now.
pyramid
So
right
that would
there.
mean that's the pyramid, ain't it?
It's the pyramid all day. That's all. That's the only thing I can see right now. Thinking
So
on
that
high.
means that was 7 degrees that we had to come through to become a temple of perfection then, didn't
Period. Yeah.
it? God almighty no.
We are that. We are that. We are that temple of God that was created without physical tools.
Yeah. And we was crucified and didn't even know it because we was stuck in the room. They told us, come on in the room. Oh my goodness, y'all don't you go in that room.
Don't, please don't. We
Don't go
already
in that room.
we went
They
in
ain't
there
gonna let
already.
you out
Yeah.
no more.
With the grand man, with us, with the number one defender of the prophet say that door that they had closed down.
Oh my goodness, didn't it? They're gonna lock you in there with the beast. So when you look at it here, you actually see that this is actually dealing with the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you're dead in the head. Oh my goodness. So you ain't got nothing to stand on. Bestiality.
yeah,
So this is just unfolding the cube out what you get. A similar death.
period.
So I hope you own the square, not in the square. Because if you're on top of it, that means you got outside of it. That means you're free. You know what I
Islam.
mean?
Yes, sir.
Because if
Yes, sir.
you in there, oh my goodness, you in
You,
trouble.
yeah, wow.
So this is what really going on. You see, we showed you, how them cherub and seraphim moving around that demonstration.
Yeah, yeah.
When you fold that demonstration out, this is what you see, the square base. You know what I mean?
Guaranteed more.
And these are all the faces of them. When you fold them back up, they fold up into this form here. More room.
Wow.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. So now you in ascension, and this is the same aspect. See the symbol here
Yeah,
corresponding to the
man.
mirror comedically. See, that's
It's
the
a
real hidden knowledge behind, that stuff they be trying to hide, family. That's why when you go on the dollar bill, yeah, they got a pyramid there, but it ain't got no capstone.
it showed
We
on.
is the capstone. We
We
the
are.
stone that the bill is rejected.
Yes,
We the
sir.
one that's gonna grind them little 72 bricks to powder.
The powder more.
If you drop the weight of us on it,
Yeah, for real.
you drop the weight of this Moorish capstone on top of this, the Bin, brother, the Merkaba
Yeah,
of
Markaba, yeah.
Allah.
Alhamdulillah, Rabbi Alamin, sure
You know
do.
what I mean? So
Yes,
this
sir.
is how deep this demonstration get, family. This is how deep it get when we go to talking this type of talk here. So it goes on though. It says, thus in the Tarot we find the 18 represents antagonism. Placing two V's together over one and the other, they represent two arms and two legs of the unregenerated man. As the upper V or triangle points downward, in the regenerated man, the hands are folded together over the head in adoration of divinity. Oh man, they talking about that master sign the chairman demonstrate. And thus
Yeah,
the
with
apex
the hand,
point. Go ahead, grand man.
with the hands up, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And it says, thus the apex points upward. In the lower triangle, the same change take place, and the forces hitherto misused going downward and outward are sent upward. It says, in return to the Holy of Holies, the triangle becomes closed and the bottom open upward. And the letter W and then VV represents the earthly or atom man, the material body, and lower mind. Oh man, that's just dealing with the letter W now. We ain't got into the ORD yet. So it says the letter O, the 16th letter of the alphabet, written Ayin in Hebrew, has somewhat the same meaning as the first letter, but in deeper sense alludes to a material building in operation in invisible and material world. The materialization of God, the Holy Spirit, the entrance of the Holy Spirit into the visible world. The Tarot tells us since God, one, is individual, undivided, and undifferentiated, to manifest in the material flame. It says God or that must divide, must become two halves of the circle, must manifest as positive and negative, male and female, electricity and magnetism. So in other words, it's saying by nature, when one manifests something else outside of it, duality automatically comes into the play.
Yeah.
You
That's
know
when
what I
you slow
mean?
the ether slow down, right? Because you got the seven comedic
Yep.
principles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go
It
ahead.
says, from this we deduce the expression dual power or dual operation, dual force. It says in astronomy, this is represented by the sign of Capricorn. These
Okay.
dual forces operating within us. It said, thus become the goat, which bears away the sins of the world. Circle, material body, right?
Uh-huh.
So when you hear them talk about they riding the goat and all that, that's talking about their passions. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ain't got nothing to do with the greatest of all time.
Come on now.
So it says in the average human being, this dual power is not operating in harmony. The action is unequal. If these two currents operated in harmony in the human body, the regenerated man would be manifested. The flesh would have become the word itself. Goodness gracious. It says the letter R is the 20th letter, written Resh. And the symbolism of this letter is most wonderful. It represents the head of man. And actually, that's the symbol in the alphabet. If you go into Paleo Hebrew, head of a man represent the letter Resh. It says, therefore, associated with the idea of the original determined movement. It says it is the sign of motion itself, good or bad, and expresses the renewal of things with regard to their innate power of motion. It corresponds to Saturn. Resh also symbols rest. A ship may rest on water that is in motion. It says the description of the inner meaning of this letter in the Tarot throws a flood of light upon it as used in its present position in word. It says, as it has deep esoteric significance. To quote, a thumb opens in the earth, and a man and woman and child issue forth from it, so to speak. It says, their hands are joined in sign of adoration. How can the reawakening of nature under the influence of the word be better expressed? It says, we must admire the way in which the symbol answers to the corresponding Hebrew hieroglyphic. It says, comment on the above quotation. It says, it's scarcely necessary, yet for the convenience of those not yet able to figure it out for themselves, let it be said that the tomb, cave, or manger is the birthplace of the seed, the word. It says, the Son of Man, which redeems Adam man. It says, if not interfered with. Now, this is talking about their abstinence, going back to basically conservation of the seed, meaning saving your seed of reproduction,
And
you know.
that takes us to right when we got the teachings of Yehoshua in our circle 7, and it takes us to that's our chapter of the week too, ain't it?
Yeah,
Holy,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yep. And he states, you got to watch that
The
fountain.
stream of pleasures being
This
dried up.
pleasure, yeah, yeah.
You
Islam,
know what I mean? So the more you say the seeds are like blocks to build a temple of perfected man. The
Islam,
more you throw them away, then you throwing away your building material.
yeah, Islam.
So this is talking about abstinence, being able to control them desires, them carnal urges, so to speak. You feel me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it ain't easy for the average man, but that's the only way you can heal your body, and be able to really go into a spiritually conscious state. But if you controlled by that, then you being ruled by the beast.
Yes,
So it
absolutely.
says, under the influence of the word, it says, indeed is the carnal man dead in trespass and sin, reborn to a new life. It says the letter D, the fourth in Hebrew alphabet, it says, as also in ours written Daleth, it says it means the womb, the door, or the mouth. It denotes abundance springing from the vision. It says, thus Dalit expresses a creation made by a being according to divine laws. It says it expresses domination of spirit over matter. The Tariot thus wonderfully interprets its meaning in divine reflex of the Father. It is the will. In the human reflex of Adam, it is power, right?
Okay.
It says in natural reflex of natria nutrients, it say it is the universal creative fluid, the soul of the universe. In astronomy, its affinity is Jupiter. Summing this up, we can see that the letter D stands for the solar plexus in the human body, as it is the reflection of the true Son, the Father, and the source of all things, because they call that also Bethlehem, the house of bread, where the solar plexus is.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they say that's where the seed was born, in the manger. At the
Oh,
age of
wow.
12, he went into Egypt though. And
Yeah.
Egypt was a place of darkness.
Yeah. Wow, more.
They call that the age of puberty. He's smelling himself now, like the grown folks say.
Yeah. What when they say you can't talk to us like that, how you go ahead?
He got a little hair on his arm and little
Testing your
cheese,
wit.
peak fuzz
Then
on.
they say he was testing his wit.
Oh my goodness. So it says, word then means this: the creation according to the divine laws from the universal creative fluid in the tomb, cave, or manger of the earth, solar plexus of that perfect one seed, fish, fruit, Jesus, Vishnu, Joshua, Moses, Horus, etc. So they're saying that this applies in all of these different mythos, that you can go through all these teachings, and this thing means the same thing. So instead of it being say in the Old Testament, instead of New Testament, they say, well, Jesus was born, in Bethlehem. And it talks about the seed moving up the Jordan. That's the spinal cord. Jordan in the Kemetic teaching represent the Nile Valley. You know what I mean? And this represent Moses. Art represents Heru. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's all dealing with the self and that seed that actually has the ability to redeem the body and thus free the Israelites. Teach the 12 disciples, raise up the 12 imams.
It's love, boy. For real.
Oh man. It says regenerate the Adam and man. It says so that he becomes the Lord God from heaven, the word made flesh. And the word was made flesh and dwelt among us. So now we know what it means when we say God, man, the word made flesh. It says we realize then that Word does not refer to speech. The Hebrew letter which signifies speech is pei, and the 17 letter it represents to the force which dispenses the essence of life, which gives it the means of perpetually renewing its creations after destruction. We can speak destructively, and we have the power to speak constructively. The two letters R or O and R combined are used to specify a precious substance originally referred to as gold. For the ancients realized that the sun's rays, which they call golden, precipitated, in the human body and form creative substance. It says the Bible tells us that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word or seed that come from the mouth of God. And they really talking about from the top of their head, up in that reservoir that they call the claustrum, and what they call the thalamus, and so forth and so on, because it was Joseph and Mary, the pituitary and the pineal gland, that produce that fluid, which is yellowy substance and oily substance, and land of milk and honey, and it flowed down and reached, Bethlehem, and then the seed was born. Jesus, not the one they were thinking about, but the one that's in the body.
Amen.
That's the real immaculate conception.
Yes, sir.
So it says in anatomy, the passageway underneath the sutras, which leads down into the thalamus, is the mouth of God, just like I said, right? For it is from the cerebrum or the upper brain that the most wonderful gift to the human body comes. And that most wonderful gift to the human body that it comes, it represents the unseen mouth or the visible mouth is the solar plexus. So it comes from the unseen mouth into the visible mouth. You know what I mean? So all of this is really saying, brother, it's saying the more that we practice abstinence, from that sixth sense, if you know what I mean, because six actually meant sex one time. The more we abstain from that, brother, the more that we are able to heal the body by the preserving of the seed. So the more you withhold and preserve the seed, it purifies the body, raises the body to a higher tone, and actually one begins to glow. You can see the God emanating from one, even though they look like a physical body, you see the God coming off of. See what I'm saying? They call it aura, right? Yeah. So this thing begins to reverse the process of death and decay that occurs within the body. And this is what it means by being redeemed from the sins of the world. This is the real resurrection, of that Jesus they be talking about. And, whoa. It is all taking place within you. And he got crucified every time one went and laid down with somebody they ain't have no business with. Every time you got into overindulgence, you was crucifying the Messiah. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. So, I mean, this is how they teach family, behind closed doors. Some don't know this stuff either, but I'm talking about that, the different highest degrees of unfoldment. This is what they be talking about. They don't be talking about the mere people. They actually talking about this, what I'm telling you right now. So it says, we can turn to the pages of Gray's Anatomy. You got to get you a copy. I got my copy up there. Barnes and Noble selling pretty cheap.
Okay, yeah, I've been wanting to get one of them.
Because it'll give you the ability to identify with these different medical terms. Because these are actually doctors who demonstrating this esoteric sciences. Okay. So you can't say they pseudo, these literally doctors. That's how they can tell you about the body so well. Okay. It said, we can turn to the pages of Gray's Anatomy or any good medical dictionary and examine carefully the illustration of a 26-day-old fetus. And we see that it says the entire body consists of brain substance. So basically the fetus that's in the body is basically a brain, is what they're saying, an undeveloped brain. So we grow, from the brain, from the head and all that shit. Brain is the first thing that developed. This is intelligence. So if that is damaged in any way, then most likely when the seed is unfolded as a full body, it's going to be some issues, So, it's speaking of the body consists of brain substance. In fact, it looks like an elongated brain. The upper brain, or the father mother substance, is what furnishes the material from which the body is made. So that's God coming from down on high, and making that man or making that woman, so to speak. See what I'm saying? All this take place within us. That's why we say, as it is above, so it is below, as it is within, so it is without. But it says, really, it is the Alpha, the beginning. Degenerates and people living in excesses have become greatly deficient in this precious metal. It says in the whole, a material part itself, in the whole, this is also divine alchemy too, brother. This is really the chemistry of man, right? It says in the whole appearance of the body testifies to the desecration of the temple. So in other words, the way you look, it testifies to the desecration of the temple. Man can become regenerated and thus save his soul, which is sown in corruption, so that it may be raised incorruption. It says we can compare, it says, speech with operations of the processes of the planets. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. The heavens are planets, and the heavens have their own particular influence. Operation of speech upon this planet of ours, we admit that the moon rules the tides, that without the sun we could not live. So why deny the influence of the other planets? Thus we see from foregoing that the word and voice of speech are two entirely different things. That John meant the precious creative substance when he spoke of the word. It says, now this is the parable. The seed is the word of God. The seed, word, and God are all synonymous of one and the same thing. The wonderful creative substance, the universal essence from which all things are brought forth, in which all things are. The scriptures are allegories and parables of the Bible, are the only writings that give us information as to what the word of God is. Therefore, in this book, we will quote what is written there in regard to it. The seed is the cause, the nucleus of everything. Therefore, seed is the beginning. In the beginning was the word. You know what I mean? What you think about that there, Brother Pearson, baby?
Wow, boy, that's that right there. Hey, that's a lifetime of study. Like you say, that comes from the observation of the self, and then going in and getting the confirmation from the prophets that came before. Giving the same portion. That's why I love. That's why I honor and love the teachings of our holy and illustrious prophet, because he was the one that confirmed. That we had to get the knowledge of ourselves within ourselves and know that God was in us in order for us to be able to get the understanding of the grand, the grand ordeal of us perfecting ourselves. So I just
Yes,
it's
sir.
it's truly an honor to be able to be able to exercise our five right now, more like we up now, demonstrating the love of Allah. We're being the manifestation of that God in man right now. You see what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
Because yeah, so it is truly an honor to be able to be here and be able to even have a portion of Allah's understanding to be able to comprehend what you're
Time
even
never
saying, bro.
was.
Yeah, time
Time
never
never was. Now,
absolutely.
watch what it say right here. It says the fluid, oil or marrow, which flows down the spinal cord comes from the upper brain, the creator or father, the most high, and is known in physiology as ovum or ovum. It says generative seed, that life essence which creates a human form of corruptible flesh. In Greek, from which the New Testament was translated, this marrow is called Christ. It says, which is the Greek word for oil. So when people be talking about Christ and they say it means anointed, and some measures just say oil.
Yeah, see, yeah.
And even that word charis comes from the Christ comes from charis, which is the Egyptian word that actually deals with what they call crocodile flesh, and the crocodile flesh is oily. So the word Messi, a Messiah, actually comes from a Kemetic word. So this same teaching exists no matter where you go. It says when this oil is refined and transmuted and lifted up and raised, it becomes so highly vitalized that it regenerates the body and overcomes the last enemy, which is death. That means that the more you save that seed, the more you abstain from, the sexual and, the generative activities, so to speak. This causes the body itself to transform itself, and healing process starts.
Wow.
So this is like intermediate fasting from sexual activity. You know what I mean? The
Yes,
more
sir.
you do that, the more you conserve the seed, the more your body becomes, youthful. This is the real fountain of youth right here, brother. Like I said, this ain't for the weak. You got to be really adept to get on this level right here.
Islam,
You know what I mean? It says, by lifting up the Son of Man, the seed or the word, the Savior, or Christ in the spinal cord is the salt which is mentioned in the Bible. The Savior is the seed of Jesus. It says the salt and the Savior both come from the same source, the same place, the Father, the upper brain. So when we say the Godhead or God is above the neck, come on, brother, don't get no plainer than this.
Don't
This
get
is
no
the same
plainer
God.
than that.
Huh? Who made you?
Allah.
Yes, sir. And he in you too.
Yes,
Spirit
sir.
clothed with soul made in the form of Allah. Goodness gracious. Ain't no spookism going on over here. We know who made us.
We
We
know
made
exactly who made us. We made us in
us.
Islam.
Islam. It says in the Bible allegory, the seed, it say Jesus is made to say, without my Father, I can do nothing. It says the material from the Father which forms the seed has gone through different processes that which forms the oil. So without the process that takes place within the colostrum and within the thalamus taking place, which is the Joseph of Mary Laban coming forth and creating this land of milk and honey that it flowed down. Without all that happening, you know what I mean? One can do nothing. You feel
We
me?
can't do nothing. The body ain't gonna even move more.
It ain't gonna move, bro. That demonstration makes man come to a standstill. But if you do the right thing, you can conquer death
Islam.
and extend your life a little more longer. So it says the material from the Father which formed the seed is gone through different processes that which forms the oil. The chemical formula of the oil is John. And Jesus was baptized and anointed of John, not by John, as it is incorrectly quoted. See the article on oil. It says, if we lift up or raise the oil in the spinal cord by the power of the seed, by saving it, it must be a physiological chemical operation within the body of each of us. And that's John the Harbinger at work. When you save that seed, it says, such is the case. It says, there is no mystery, no marvel in all of the universe that is greater than man himself. Man, know thyself, confronts us down through the ages. But only a few have paid attention to the voice of the Delphic oracle. Only a few have looked within. There's a wonderful straight and narrow way, a real straight, not straight, which extends from the upper brain, the cerebrum, to the end of the spinal cord. It says otherwise named Jordan in the Bible. That's the Jordan
Wow.
Street. It says we find that the meaning of this in Hebrew is the sender, a river of God. It says the straight and narrow way is indeed the river of God, for it leads to the Father, the Most High, the upper brain. So once that seed is born, right there, and you lift it up enough, man, you mess around and you got a grand awakening coming on. And that's when that serpent fire rise from the base of the spine and go back up in ascension. And that's what replenished the whole body. That's that Kundalini. It says it's
Kundalini,
joy.
yeah.
Yes, sir. It says, as the Jordan empties into the Dead Sea, so the spinal cord terminates in the section of the anatomy which is designated in the medical terminology as Sodom too. So there's a waste matters that go forth in the process, where defecation come from. You got to get rid of them impurities. So it
Absolutely.
says that's just a process in the cycle of purifying the body. But it says Josephus refers to the region of the lake of Sodom. And for those who've been thinking they can put the seed in there, they better get it right, because you're looking for we can say a hellfire
Yeah.
experience, so to speak.
Yeah. Period. Yeah. I draw.
Period. So it says in any other writings we find it referred to as the Sea of Lot, and lake asphaltus. You know how hard asphalt is, right?
Yeah, it's just really
So
hard.
ain't no
That's a
way in
really
the
hard.
world you got no business trying to pierce through no asphalt. You know, I'm just put it that way right there. You know, so we ain't gonna be too graphic. But it says the student of symbology can easily see that it is simply a slimy pool from which springs the lotus whose flower of 1,000 petals bloom forth, reflecting its golden heart in the image of its creator. You know, it says the wonderful pneumogastric nerve. It says rising in the floor of the fourth ventricle of the head. Now they're going back to the crown chakra. That's
Yeah.
that lotus. And
See the
connected with the cerebellum crosses the spinal cord of Jordan. It says at the base of the skull, Golgotha. That's where they say Jesus was crucified at, so to speak. It says, and sends numerous branches through the throat, the lungs, the heart, and stomach, terminating in the plexus under the latter organ, which is named the androgynous brain, the stomach brain, or solar plexus. This wonderful nerve has 6 different physical functions. In addition to deeply esoteric office of being the channel for the holy breath or the Holy Ghost, without which there would be no conception of the Holy Child. That's the pneumogastric nerve.
Okay.
Pneuma means breath too, by the way. So it says in Bible terminology.
Yeah, pardon yourself.
Go
N
ahead.
N U M A.
Yeah, pneuma is actually
Oh,
P. You know, P, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
N and U. Oh, you spelled it. That's what you were spelling.
yeah.
Yeah, pneuma. Yeah, pneuma.
Oh, I
It
just have to
says
make sure.
in the yes, sir.
Okay,
Pneumogastric nerve.
okay.
It says in Bible terminology, the solar plexus also means manger, cave, Bethlehem, which we said a couple of times. For it
Yeah,
is the center of this plexus of the nerves that we find the thimble-shaped cavity, or the depression from whence issues forth the Redeemer of Adam man. It says in dual sense, it says it is the house of bread, as it is the place where the vine bread or seed is formed, and it lies directly back of the house of material bread, the stomach. Man shall not live by bread alone, it says, but by every word, seed that cometh forth from the mouth, or cometh from the mouth of God. Jesus was born in Bethlehem, and this word means in Hebrew house, Beth, of bread, or lehem. So it says, see how wonderfully the Hebrew words express the true meaning of the hidden truth. I am the bread of life. It says, in the central part of the head is a wonderful chamber called the thalamus. And I showed that to our family last night. I like the way it go back over it though with the hammer repetition. It
that's right.
says Santi's anatomy of the brain and the spinal cord describes it thus. It is the great ganglion, the inner brain. The thalamus is an important sensory relay station. Its medical part is concerned with smell, its lateral part with common sensation and taste, or sense and taste. It says, according to Head and Holmes, it is also an organ of consciousness for impulses of pain and temperature. The third ventricle separates the thalami from each other, except at the midpoint where they are joined by the massa intermedia. The thalamus is situated behind the medial to the corpus stratum and projects backwards over the midbrain. Laterally, it rests against the superior lamina of the internal capsule. It says, which separated it from the lentiform and nucleus. See, this is what you need that particular book, you know, for if you ain't familiar with this type of stuff. You got to get Gray's Anatomy. The thalamus is shaped like an egg with the small end directed forward. It measures 4 centimeters or about 1.5 inches in length and 2.5 centimeters of 1 inch in width and thickness. It has an anterior and posterior extremity and 4 surfaces: superior, inferior, medial, and lateral. It says the most striking statement in the above paragraph is that the thalamus is egg-shaped, and we can readily see why there is so much reference made in ancient religions to the egg. For the thalamus, with its adjacent appendages, when viewed in cross sections of the brain, looks exactly like a beetle. It says the body egg shape of the horns in the lateral ventricle, typifying the horns of the beetle. So they comparing this scarab beetle, you know, to the thalamus in the brain. It says in the Scarabus of Egypt, is exemplified the egg of immortality, the light of the world. So after all this is done, not only is the body regenerated, but this actually brings about, a spark within the thalamus and allows one to begin to think clearly, think on a higher level of vibration. So this is really what a realm of enlightenment or the world of enlightenment opens up to one. This shows why the Keter beetle represents immortality, because now you get into your God state. Islam.
Islam.
It say it is the chamber, the holy of holies, wherein is concealed the Ark of the Covenant. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, we find this is referred to as the boat of Seker. Every religion which has existed down through the ages has told in its own terminology the same story, the same physiological process taking place within the body of man. On the posterior side of the thalamus, we find the pineal body. It is the cone-shaped body of 6 millimeters and 1.25 inches high and 4 millimeters and 1.17 inches in diameter, joined to the roof of the third ventricle by a flattened stalk, or the hapnula. Santi tells us that the interior of the pineal body is made up of closed follicles, surrounded by ingrowths of connected tissue. The follicles are filled with epithelial cells mixed with calcareous lime matter, the brain sand, ossiculus cerebrae. Calcareous deposits are found also on the pineal stalk, along the choroid plexus, and it states the function of the pineal body is unknown. Descartes facetiously suggests that the abode of the spirit, the sand of man. It says the most significant statement in the above paragraph to the esoteric student is the reference to the calcareous. It says deposit in the brain sand. Right now, indeed, do we find the words of great occultist Madame Helena Petrovna. It says Blavatsky, written nearly half a century ago, justified, proved true in the light of modern science. Who now dares to lightly cast aside the statements of seers and mystics recorded in secret and sacred doctrines as unreliable and untrue? The upper section of this pineal body is the optic eye, the all-seeing eye. In it is the wonderful light of the candle which gives light to the whole house. So it's talking about the third eye and all of that.
Yeah.
The optic thalamus. The pineal body is the male and spiritual organ. It states, if you ask for proof as to its being a male organ, you can find indubitable proof. It says by referring to any good physiological chart or anatomy, for you will see that the lower portions of this organ has been given the names corpora, quadramina, which means fourfold bodies. That made me think about here now ye cherubim, ye seraphim, ye angels, and ye men.
Yes, sir.
Two nates, buttocks, the testes, testicles. It says, thus we see that in spite of our incredulence, it says, it says, even the Scofian scientist has unwittingly demonstrated the truth of occult investigations in respect to this body. In esoteric as well as physiological, meaning this is Joseph, meaning to increase the father of Jesus, the seed, the redeemer. It is the organ through which the electrical forces of the body play. It says, in other words, one of the differentiators of that, the universal essence deposited materialized in the cerebrum, the upper brain, in the medieval Hebrew, as quoted from the sacred books of the East. It is referred to as the crystalline dew from heaven, deposited in the cranium. The marvelous symbology of our own Bible is duplicated in all ancient scriptures in all the nations of the world. I would say the other way around. The Bible is duplicated from all of the other scriptures in the world.
Yeah,
but being that those who wrote it have an inclination toward Christianity, we understand why they would say that. It says some of this wonderful essence, this father flows down from the upper brain into the pineal body. What is differentiated becomes masculine, positive, electrical in quality and action. On the other side of the thalamus is located the pituitary. Let me see. I know I should be about at the end of it in a second here. It's got a good little bit to go.
Okay.
Yeah, what I'm doing, I'm gonna actually pick back up because I ain't got to read the whole thing overnight. We
Yeah,
done went a good little bit far,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
the,
Yeah,
the
we
the
on the
main measure that's
demonstrate.
being demonstrated here, family. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, and I'll go there. I really go there till I finish reading, but it ain't necessary. So we want to be able to give our people to have some ability to digest what we putting in front of them. And they can go do their own research mainly, in
Yeah.
regards to dealing with this demonstration. And we're gonna pick back up on page 47 in our next session. We
Okay.
also don't want to burn all our time up this demonstration because we don't want to kill too much of the space on our hard drive right now.
Understood. Yep. So page 47 is where we'll continue.
Yeah, we'll continue from here. So this is a
Okay.
powerful demonstration of dealing with how to heal the body, how to just through abstinence, man, and good diet, good eating, man, we can resurrect, this vessel. We can get our strength back if we feel like we're weak. We can get our health back if we feel like we're ill and sick. And all of this is dealing with being able to read the book of self,
That's right.
self-mastery, right?
Yes, sir.
So what you think about this, good brother?
Man, more you fed that spirit, and that's where we trying to gain that suck is from our, I got a lot of nutrients from our native plane with this demonstration, and that's I can't say nothing else but that. That was just a spiritual feeding. That was on the table, the table that Allah has prepared for us. He definitely got he makes sure that we stay in tip top shape.
Yes, sir. So you already
So
know. When you hear one talking about, that cross, you ask them, are you in the square? Are you on the
yeah,
square?
yeah. Please
You
be
know?
be be on the square.
Yeah, man, because the more gonna be on top of that demonstration. You can't call him in the room. He ain't coming in the but at the end of the day, man, when it come down to dealing with it, you are, when it comes to the material portions of the body, we know the square that it consists of. But if we ain't careful, we'll be basically in that room with that beast.
Yeah,
But when
that's
we,
six. That's
yeah,
yeah.
666 is the number of a man, you know,
Islam,
and that's a mere man, not a Moorish American national.
Islam,
So Islam, grand man, I appreciate you though for coming through, man, and get you some rest. We appreciate the audience because we got some dedicated audience that tuned in with us, family. They
okay.
loving this late night library, archives, and wisdom. We're gonna see if we can chop it down a little bit too, and make it a little quicker to the point. Even start a little earlier, whatever
Yes,
the
sir.
case may
It
be.
was
That
grand.
way
It was
we don't.
grand. It was a grand demonstration, though. More for real. I can't wait to the next session.
Oh yeah. We're gonna keep them coming because this is basically gonna be like my little book club demonstration.
Okay.
To just bring out a bunch of different works. This is one of the many. And after you're gonna see a lot of this stuff actually ties in, when you go into different books. You're gonna be able to see where it was placed there. And
Okay.
these things were done on purpose in most cases. It ain't done by chance. So you'll see it in the translation of the Bible, you'll see it in the translation of the Quran if you know what you read.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see it in some of the texts of Hinduism, Buddhism. The same aspect of the story being told in the way that it's being demonstrated from a physiological and an esoteric standpoint. And like we said, the one have to have a foundation to know this stuff. This ain't something that you come into overnight. Like I said, I came across this 30 years ago, and I got other books that bite this up. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. This is live, brother Cali Cuz. That's right. It is live. Why you think it's supposed to be spoken secret? If you do, we ain't under oath over here. With
It's
all
not
due respect,
known. No, sir. With all due respect.
we adepts, we revealers of the light. We don't have to. We ain't took no oaths to conceal. So those who have took oaths, and they may be up on the oath, they can get some of this good teaching right here and not have to wait till they go through 30, 40 degrees. Just don't let nobody else know you heard this right here because you might get in trouble. I'm
Get out
just
that
speaking
box.
in general.
Get out that box. Get out that square and get on that demonstration.
Yeah, we don't want to get nobody in trouble where they at. because we understand our people part of them different, type of bodies or whatever. I ain't telling what one be trying to do to you.
Lord,
But we the ones that bring the teaching here, family. Okay, the brothers say you from a center. Okay. You front and center. Okay, Islam, grand man. I'm just speaking in general. You cool. We just making sure, because some of our people, they be like, ho, Mo, you're giving up too much. So all is well, grand man. But yeah, we are live. We actually getting ready to shut down, but we gonna keep putting these measures out here. Like I said, I'm gonna try to come forth and be a little earlier, next time, so that we can get the people in here. And you welcome here, Cali, cuz it's all love. We don't have no beefing or none of that right there. Matter of fact, I don't know where you at, what you got going on, but I'm gonna drop this in here on you real quick so you can give a few words if you want to, brother. You want to hit that link, you can come in here. We ain't gonna go back and forth. We open over here, man. We open for the bill. Islam, brother Stuart Bay. Yes, sir. We definitely putting it out here. We gonna keep putting it out here. We just trying to take our time with it and make sure our family can get it. Cause long as it's recorded, one thing it is, you can always go back and look at it. And if what one didn't get from the beginning, they can always get it again. You feel me? Okay, yeah, bro. I appreciate you and the support and the love. And they have to be a balance too, brother. Sincere Basie. Some of our people, they'll go straight esoteric, right? And they'll just try to cast everything else in the garbage. But in the Grand Quran, it tell us to take the middle course. You know what I mean? So you don't go extreme esoteric nor extreme literal, but you move in the middle course, the straight path. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's what I
It's a
thought.
balance. And that keep it balanced. Because if you go all the way esoteric and you try to reject the manifest and extend yourself beyond the being, people gonna look at you like you done lost your mind. You know what I mean? In most cases, you might lose your mind if you get to playing with it too much, and not having a true adept that can bring these things to you by degree. We made complex things sound simple tonight for those who are able to get it now. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so everything in this measure we demonstrate now, when we come and do this, bro, basically people gonna be able to get whatever they can get from it. Whatever you able to get from this measure, you know what I mean? Let me see what the brother say. He said, I don't know. I've been what y'all. He said, what y'all know. I've been a Moor for about 28 years, still on the low, but I'm working. That's right, brother. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But that means that you working, though. That means you building on the temple of perfected man, brother. That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. And we all doing that. We building. I've been in this measure 30 years, and I'm still building, bro. And as long as we think like that, we can always improve. But when we get to a level where we feel like we got it, I know every time I seen somebody walking on a tightrope, I got it. Next thing you know, there you go. So all of us can learn no matter what it is, that we come through, and there's always room for growth. And my foundation that I stand on to this day is to know that you don't know. That don't mean that you don't know what you know. That means you leave room for growth. And no matter what somebody bring you, you can always get wisdom from it. But anytime our people get to a level where they shut down, I don't care how intellectual you may sound or how pretty your words are. If you can't hear, wisdom coming from somebody else, then that show what you're lacking at. And most people do that when they're in fear, or going into an area that they can't really deal with when they're outside of their jurisdiction. So they try to shut things out by attacking them. And that way they can still feel like they're superior, But with that being said, family, we're going to let our family get some shit eye. Man, I love your family. I'm going to keep bringing this truth. That's what my duty is, man, to give all of you the truth. And we're going to keep giving it to the people, bro. You ain't going to be able to get these things here, what we talking about, nowhere else, not the way that we bring it. Because we ain't holding nothing back. We ain't keeping nothing from you. We're going to give it to you. We're going to give you the work. That way, when these people be out here trying to tell you anything, and see, that's what they don't like about commission, because commission giving y'all information that somebody can't just tell you anything. You know what I mean? So, peace and love. All right, brother Sincere Bay, you want to say something before we go out, brother?
No, you said enough more. If anything, I just want to thank you for bringing forth the measures more. You know, I want to give the proper honors to you, National Sister Grand Sheik, for continue to keeping the holy and illustrious prophet out front. You know, and loving the great God Allah, and allowing allowing him. You know, you being his vehicle. It's just truly an honor to be able to sit amongst the giants as such as yourself, more. You know, praise Allah. That's my portion.
Islamism and gratitude, grand man. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. You know, so yeah, we give honors to everybody, and we're gonna let y'all go now. And we just say, keep tuning in, family. The best is yet to come. Like I told our family, we like the well of Zemzem. We don't never run dry. So, Shemo Tepu, Gwajet Sanel, life, health, and prosperity be upon you all. Peace. Islam, brother Sincere Bay. See you in a few hours.
You already know more. You want to with the Asiatic covenant? You want to end?
Yeah, all is well. No problem with that. Islam.
Okay. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given thee suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with our brother, that peace and happiness may dwell in our Father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that binds thee to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thine own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, and your love to each other. Islam, angels.
Islamism without the schism. Peace and love, family.
At all costs. Peace.
At all costs. Peace. All right, family. Peace to the family that checked in. Honors to all of y'all. We're going to shout y'all out because we want the people to know that you were here. And also let it be known that we see you. We'll never ignore you in our chat. You know, Brother Question, Brother Bay Brothers, you know, Shy, you know, we give honors to you, Myron Holman. You know what I mean? We give honors to you, Cali Cuz, T. Stewart Bay. All of y'all, man. One love, family. Anytime y'all want to come here, my casa, su casa. You know, it's all love. Peace.